What up, what up, what up? Hey, everybody, hope you're doing well. Hey, I just want to let you know, I know everybody can't always support and donate to the podcast, but hey, if you can do a one-time donation, I put up a Buy Me a Coffee link in this description of the podcast. So if you go to the description of the podcast, it'll be at the bottom, and you can just go to that link, and you can buy me a cup of coffee, or two if you want. And that would just help support the show, and I can wake up a little bit more and bring you more info. So thanks for listening to the podcast. If you can donate, that would be much appreciated. And let's get on to the show. What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to Lockdown Universe, home of the bizarre, peculiar, and unheard of stories of UFO legend and paranormal lore. Welcome back, welcome back. Happy to be back. Hopefully you guys are doing excellent. Take care of yourselves. So today, we got an awesome one for you. I hope you're having a fantastic one. We've got all the gang here. We've got the mini baby alien here. Thank you very much. Yes, he's here. We've got the crazy kitty. Meow, meow. I'm not even going to turn him. No, I'm going to turn him on. I'm just kidding. There he is. Mini kitty. Alien kitty. We've got Mr. Bigfoot here. The Zen Bigfoot, always in a Zen state of mind. And then we've got Mr. Alien over here and the crazy doggy here. So, welcome back. Welcome back. Hopefully you guys are doing excellent. So, what are we talking about today? What are we going to get into? We're going to get into the Solway Firth photograph taken all the way back in 1964 in the Solway Firth area of, well, in between England and Scotland. So this photograph purportedly takes an image of an alien behind it. Now, it's very interesting because they actually did a lot of technical research on this photograph. They put it through imaging. It was taken to Kodak, and they did research on it, and they couldn't find anything. So we're going to get into this. Well, they couldn't find anything wrong with the photo, I should say. So we're going to get into this. So let's start off at the beginning, and then I'll give you the facts, and then I'll give you my theories, and then we'll wrap her up. So the Solway Firth spaceman, and I'll bring up the photo in just a second. I want to give you this story here real quick. The Solway Firth spaceman, you may have seen this photo. There's a little girl in a field, and behind her is this, what appears to be a rather muscular individual in a white suit. It appears to be his back because of the way his arm is cocked. And then he has this helmet on that has a black apparatus in the back. Can't tell because he's a little bit too far away. But we'll cover it. So who took it, where was this at, and what kind of equipment was used, and what was the history? So let's go into that. So this photo was taken on May 23rd, 1964 by a fireman, a photographer, keep that in mind, and a local historian named Jim Templeton. He did pass away in 2011, but left all of his photos to his family. The picture was taken on Burgh Marsh, which is located by Burgh by the Sands, overlooking the Solway Firth. The Solway Firth is a beautiful area, guys. This photo in this area is magnificent in that it overlooks this beautiful mountainous region that has a beautiful sea right next to it called the Irish Sea. It is breathtaking, okay? So it's no wonder this guy wanted to take a photo up there. Makes sense. And if there was an alien in this photo and they were there, it makes sense that they would want to visit this place too, in all honesty. I would. So this Jim Templeton claimed the photograph shows a background figure wearing a spacesuit. And he insists that he did not see anyone present when he took this picture. The image was reproduced widely in newspapers at the time and gained tons of interest, right? Tons of interest with ufologists. So there was a journalist who stated that he believed that this had to be a photograph of his wife. Okay, standing in the back towards the camera with her blue dress appearing white due to overexposure. I hate to tell you guys, but that ain't it. Okay? We're going to look at this photo in just a second. You're going to see this is not his wife. Okay? This is definitely, I don't care, it could have been a man in this suit. Okay? Could have been. But it's definitely not his wife. Okay? This is definitely a masculine figure. And, don't get me wrong. I mean, I know there's plenty of power lifters that are women, but this this just doesn't look like it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't look like it's probably even a human. The way it looks like there's something wrapped around the back, like almost like a necklace, and then this headgear. It's very interesting because it almost looks like an astronaut's helmet, but it's backwards. So it's very peculiar. So the photograph, he took 3 photographs actually this day. Jim Templeton, who was a firefighter actually too. So I mean, this guy has a reputation to uphold. He's not trying to ruin his rep. He's not trying to get fired from his job. He's trying to just have a nice day. that's all you can ask for in this life. So Templeton said the only other people in the marshes that day were a couple of old women sitting in a car at the far end of the marsh. Okay. And in a letter to the Daily Mail in 2002, before he passed, Templeton stated, "I took 3 pictures of my daughter Elizabeth in a similar pose and was shocked when the middle picture came back from Kodak, displaying what looks like a spaceman in the background." Templeton insists that he did not see the figure until after the photographs were developed, and analysts at Kodak confirmed the photograph was genuine. No manipulation. This was all before CGI, no computer manipulation, none of that type of stuff, so don't even go there. Okay? So the explanation of the spaceman. Well, lots of people have their theories. Lots of people have their ideas on this, right? So, let's get into that in just a second. I want to see if we can pull up any other info on the Kodak review here. So let's pull this article up from July 27th, and we'll see if we can grab some further information. So, have you guys ever taken a photo that you thought was just a little off? Well, sure, we all have. Maybe you thought you might have captured an alien on there. Sure, that makes sense. But did you do your due diligence and go check it out and get the information? Of course you did. Of course you were trying to get all of the information that you could because it just makes sense. Anybody would do this. So let's pull up an article from the BBC. Okay, BBC, reputable, makes sense. Let's check them out. So the BBC states that they actually interviewed him. Let's pull it up here. This article is from the 2014, so it's after he passed. And it's written by Simon Armstrong. So Templeton, the one that took the photo, took it to Kodak. Okay, he actually physically took it to Kodak, and they put it under. Let's see what they did here. They put it under their review. Here we go. So he took 3 photos to Kodak. They reviewed it. They claimed that it was not some sort of illusion. It wasn't some sort of bizarre, like a flash or a flare of a lens flare. So here we go, right? He actually gets visited by the Men in Black. This is where it gets really bizarre. So he gets a visit from the Men in Black, who asked to be taken to the same spot the image was taken. And they referred to each other as only number 9 and number 11. So when they were talking to each other, they only referred to each other as number 9 and number 11. This is perhaps one of the strangest turns in history. This guy takes a photo, he has it reviewed by Kodak, and then gets picked up by the Men in Black. They take him to the exact spot, but they don't ask him about the alien. They ask him about the weather conditions. They ask him about the birds and the wildlife and what sounds they were making. They asked him about any other atmospheric issues that were going on in the area. This is pretty interesting because they're not talking about the alien. They're talking about the atmosphere, atmospheric conditions, the animals' instincts, the animals' movements, that kind of thing. What's interesting to me here in this particular story is that this might indicate that these Men in Black individuals have knowledge of other individuals who've had taken photos and picked up digital imprints of aliens on them. Now, if that's the case, then these old cameras might have been able to see into a different realm. Okay, they might have been able to see into a different spectrum of light that our eyes can't see, and therefore seeing through an alien that might have had some sort of invisibility device, right? A masking device. And so if that's the case, then these Men in Black would be very interested in this Kodak film, and they might try to block this film from being produced. We all know that there's another spectrum of light out there. We have cats that can see into other realms. We know the cats are the guardians of the underworld. They can see into other realms. They can see ghosts. They can see spirits. There's film and video recordings of them seeing into other realms. And they're just staring and they're freaked out. And dogs will bark at, a spirit as well. So there's this other spectrum that we can't see. I mean, we don't have to rely on cats and dogs to tell us that. We have science that tells us that. We can only see in a limited spectrum. These film, they can see into other spectrums, so it's definitely possible they could have seen through a disguise by an alien. And maybe this alien was just on vacation. Who knows? And the thing is, even if you believe that it looks human, there's plenty of other planets out there that have human-like species on them. Look very similar to us. We look like the Nordics. The Nordics look very similar to us. They've been reported to be very muscular. Maybe this was just a Nordic. He's just in a spacesuit. And they've been reported by abductees to have spacesuits on. Maybe he just had a helmet on. Maybe he just got lucky. Lots of people take photos. Somebody's bound to get lucky. What's interesting here is that he took 3 photos, right? Boom, boom, boom. 2 of them don't have it in there. 1 does. Now, we don't know the time space in between those 3 photos. I haven't been able to find that yet. But he took 3 photos, and only in the middle one, was there a shot of this alien. So I guess the question is, how long was the timeline in between each photo that he took? He stated he took 3 photos of the girl sitting there that day. I gotta imagine they were relatively close in time. You're not going to have your poor daughter sitting there for 15 minutes. You're going to take a photo. Kid's not going to sit for very long. You're going to try to take another photo and try to take the best shot. So that's kind of where we're at with that. Now, what up with the Men in Black aliens? What their Men in Black individuals? They took him all the way out there, and this was pretty far from his house. It was actually 5 hours from his house. So he had to hitchhike. They left him. These Men in Black guys asked him all these questions, and they just got pissed off at the end. And they were like, "We're out of here. Good luck getting your way home." So here's where Mr. Templeton kind of got frustrated, and he thought that these Men in Black might actually just be hoaxsters. They might have just been, out there for shits and giggles. But who the hell's going to drive 5 hours to pick some dude up, drop him off there, and then 5 hours back just on a prank? I don't know, but honestly, I haven't heard of a Men in Black encounter where they've picked somebody up even. I've heard them visiting, heard them asking questions. I think there was one incident caught on film where they did pick one person up, and I want to say it was like in Alaska. And it was like a receptionist who had a video of an alien, and they took her, and I don't know if she ever returned or not. Um, but we know that they did take her because the coworker saw, and they were on video, so it's kind of interesting there. So let's get back to this. So the question is, was it a lens flare? No. Was it? Could it have been a human? Could have been. What are my thoughts? We've got the facts. What are my thoughts on it? My thoughts are that it's kind of inconclusive. And I say that with a grain of salt because I want to believe it, right? But at the same time, it does look very, very human-like. But I also am aware that Nordics look very human, or the other muscular human-type species, if you don't want to call them Nordics. There's other species out there that aren't the Nordics, that just look human, and they're muscular, more muscular than we are, right? Because they've probably figured out the DNA modifications to make themselves as fit as possible. So that's kind of where I sit on it here. I'll pull over the photo so you guys can take a peek at it, and we'll see what you guys think. So let's pull over this one here. I'll pull it over on the big screen. What do you guys think about this? Let's get this bigger here. So here we have it. You can see the girl. She's sitting on like a hill. Behind her head is this individual. The arm is bent backwards, like my elbow going back, right? There's this. It could be a hood. That might make more sense. It could be a hood right here, and then this helmet, or at least that's what it looks like, a helmet, almost turned backwards, or maybe that's just the way it was. Maybe they had like two white pieces on the side and a black on the back, and then this white kind of top to the helmet. So maybe they had like a black covering in the back and some covering on the front, or no covering in the front at all. If it is an alien, then, wouldn't you think maybe he might be turned around towards looking at the people taking a photo, or maybe he already looked at the people taking a photo and he's just out there gathering different sites. Honestly, the way the person's positioned like this, it just looks like they're out for a nice, relaxing day. That's what it looks like, and I'm sure aliens have more important things to do than just have a relaxing day, but that's the way it looks like to me. Let me see. Pull this up here. So, the other thing that Jim Templeton stated was there was a kind of an electric charge in the air. He said even the nearby cows seemed upset by it during that day. So that's what he noticed, that there was like some difference in animal behavior in the area. Those specifically nearby cows seemed upset by it. But there was no storm that came. It even looks like a beautiful day. So I don't know, what would have caused that electrical charge? It had to be an alien ship, maybe? I mean, that's all we can think of, right? Again, the MIBs came in a large Jaguar car, which would have been similar to, our Crown Victorias here in America. So that's my theory, is that MIBs in England drive Jaguars, and in America they drive, Crown Vics. So they only referred to each other by the numbers. They asked unusual questions, like the activities of local bird life, the minutia of the day, and then they became angry and they hustled themselves into the car, driving off, leaving him, and he had to hike. Oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't 5 hours; it was 5 miles to get home. But he was a fireman. He was tough. He was strong. He was able to hike that. So that's kind of where we're at. I haven't come across any other, info about this one yet. I wish I had. I think that Kodak, knowing what they know and knowing film development, would say, okay, this is an official document. what else can they do? They can't confirm that this is not a human, unless there was something in the photo that they could say, okay, this is incorrect. But this person standing behind her is incorrect, and Jim didn't see it. Now, somebody else, one of these debunkers said when you look through the particular camera that he had, the viewfinders back in the day didn't have digital screens on them, right? They'd had a like a little plastic viewfinder that you could look through and take the photo. And they said, well, that viewfinder blocks out 30% of your visual capability of your area where you're taking a photo. Well, okay, that's fine and dandy, but I don't think you're going to still miss some human or being standing behind your daughter. As a father, you're very aware of what's going on. You're very aware of people because you're wary. You have to be aware. That's in our nature. We're a violent species by nature currently, and have been for thousands of years, especially in Scotland and England, right? If you've watched Outlander, you know. So you're going to be aware of people. It doesn't make sense that he would have said, oh, I just didn't see this guy. No, this dude was muscular. This guy had a humongous white spacesuit on. It's not overexposure. I don't care what you say. It's not overexposure. This is a man or some being of some sort that's got some clear biceps. Clear biceps, very strong, no body fat, low body fat at least, and what appears to be a white hood and a helmet. So I think we have, if there wasn't anything else, I would say at least we have something caught on film that wasn't visible to the human eye. Whether it be an alien humanoid that has the capability of hiding himself with an invisibility device, or whether it be another type of alien that looks like, the 5-star humanoid that we have, we just can't see his helmet. Even if the helmet was off, and there was a reptilian face there, would that be enough to say, yep, definitely an alien? It wouldn't be. For those who don't believe, no proof will ever be enough, and for those who fully believe, no proof is required. I think ufologists are a bit in the middle. We want to believe, but we also need proof. So with that, I will end the podcast. I hope you enjoyed this little trip down memory lane back to 64, not mistaken. Yep, 64, May 24th. And what do you think? We can't ask Jim anything else. Unfortunately, he has passed, but he does have family we can continue to discuss this amazing story with. So thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it. Please like, follow, subscribe, leave a rating on any podcast app that you listen on. We're trying to grow the podcast. I like doing these. These are fun for me, fun for you. I like bringing the stories to you. So please do that. Take care of yourselves physically, spiritually, emotionally. Follow through on your hobbies and your goals and your dreams, whatever they may be. Whatever they may be. If you like doing podcasts, do a podcast. If you like doing paintings, do paintings. If you like to carve wood. Work on your car, whatever you like. But keep that positivity in your life. That's going to help you grow. That's what we can all bring to each other, is that positivity in whatever aspect it is. And as always, continue to question the universe around you. Till next time, guys, take care. Lockdown Universe out.